lined up. The strong does finally. Even Warren gives him no space. He's in the wall. He's in the wall. Turn 4, he's taking out Bruce Dean as well. Oh, big moment there. Kurt's turned over his Bruce. Big crash in turn 4. That is an unfortunate, huge crash. Final corner, that's the death!
Okay, good evening everyone and welcome back to Auto Blister Supercars Championship for 2023. It has been quite a delay since our last round in Adelaide, but we are back with Gen 3. This is going to be quite an exciting, compressed little season of racing that we put together for you, or the guys at Auto Blister Supercars have put together, and we're going to kick it all off with the streets of Newcastle and the streets of Melbourne. My name is Michael Zalavari, also known as Floody. I'm currently just doing this intro so that way Stairs can check whether his microphone is plugged in properly.
And I believe it is now. Thank you for that.
It is fantastic.
Floody, I've chucked you in the deep end. It has been a good 10 months or so, I think, since we ran one of these broadcasts, and I'm busy trying to plug things in and find passwords for old Steam accounts that I haven't used in quite some time. So do bear with us. We are just getting to grips with all of the technology that I once upon a time could do with my eyes shut, and alas, it has taken some jogging of the memory to get this stream up and running, but alas, it is running now.
Yeah, and it's wonderful. We've got an awesome schedule tonight. We've got 2 races at 2 different tracks.
And one of these venues, not the one you're looking at right now, I should say. Bloody. Pre-roll from Adelaide, my apologies.
That's all right. We have, you'd think we'd had 10 months to sort of put all this together, but really it hasn't been like that in the slightest, has it, Stairs?
Well, life gets in the way, doesn't it? We all do this as a hobby. So let's have a look at the track that we are going to be racing at very shortly. We're in a warm-up session. Qualifying has just finished, and this is Newcastle, Bloody.
Yeah, it is, and it's a terrifying little track, this Newcastle track, especially for these brand new cars. Something that I found, I jumped in and had a little bit of a muck around earlier tonight before everything got underway, and it was really, really difficult to get the cars stabilized on this circuit. The new car is sort of it's a bit of a handful. I think, I was trying to remember what Alex Cattle said to me earlier. He said that he's got to really work the car. Almost feels like he's got to overdrive the car. That's kind of the sort of feedback I've been getting about the Gen 3 car, and Newcastle as a place to start the season. Oh, it's going to be terrifying. We're definitely going to see some cars on the walls. We've got a 21 car grid that has already been set for qualifying. For the race. We did unfortunately not quite get everything all sorted for qualifying, but it's going to be it's a claustrophobic little bull ring, this Newcastle circuit.
Yeah, claustrophobic, but it tends to throw up action-packed races. I still remember that, I think it was the first time they raced there. It was the championship decider with Scott McLaughlin going up and down like a yo-yo throughout the field. And so we also raced this, I think the last time a couple of years ago for the season ender for ASC in 2021, I think it might have been. Actually, no, it was pre-COVID, so even earlier than that. And it was an absolute cluster. You can finish the word for me. Well, not you, Floody. I mean you. The
a kind viewer can finish the word for us.
Exactly. I'm sure that they are familiar. But we're just watching a bit of the warm-up action. The grid has been set. Do we know who set pole position, Michael?
We do know who set pole position, and that is Corey McFarlane. So a bit of a shake-up at the top of the field. I am just trying to find the recorded results because our new live timing program isn't quite as familiar as as we were with live races. Unfortunately, live races is now defunct, so we can't go back and use that. But it was Corey McFarlane who said a 106.8, and you know, we were very fond of Corey McFarlane last year with the Tim Hortons Maple Sim Sport car, but he seems to have really upped his game with this car, or maybe meshes with this car, and someone else who's really meshes with this new car very well seems to be Sean Allen, who took second place.
Yes, and we're going to have to get used to some new liveries as well. Let's see if we can find Sean Allen. Is he on track at the moment? He might not be on track, so that would render our search futile, but quite a few cars on track, and let's see, Corey McFarlane's one of them, so I'll just see if I can find him while you update us on whatever it is you're about to update us on.
Well, the thing that I was about to update us on was the fact that last season's championship protagonist, well, one of them, Dane Warren, he doesn't appear to be here tonight, so we're starting without one of the Warrens. But secondly, Ethan Warren, it will be starting from 9th position after a bit of an awkward qualifying. So it's definitely, this new car, this new spec is definitely shaken up the pecking order, so to speak. Because, yeah, we see a Warren down in 9th.
Yeah, so Ethan Warren is busy on duties in Germany still, I believe. He spent quite a bit of the year sim racing over there. So he's gone from strength to strength after dominating the season last year. We might get a chance to see someone else head to the top of the timing sheets. Ethan Warren currently at the top of the timing sheets for warm-up, of course. But Corey McFarlane, the man we're looking at, will be starting this race from pole position.
Yes, and another important note as well, it was quite a while since we had the last round of the season at Adelaide, but those who will remember the last race of the season will remember that it was quite a frantic and chaotic little affair. There was a laundry list of penalties that were handed out post-race, but the one that is relevant for us today is that Kurt Stenberg was handed a rear grid start as part of the penalties from the last round of the season last year. And so that is why, well, we will see him at the rear of the grid. So he will be starting in 21st place or 22nd place. So at Newcastle as well, which will be quite a challenge to run his way through the field. Quickly, Stairs, we should talk about the format for tonight before we jump into the race.
Yes, so the format, which I'm scrambling to get in front of me, it's a couple of races because in order to do this compressed season that you mentioned, we are racing at Newcastle and Albert Park today. And so we're going to be starting off, first of all, with a race around Newcastle, and then after that we're going to do a race around Albert Park as I continue to fill for time to find the exact lap numbers, which I thought was in that chat, but it's not in that chat, it's in another chat. Maybe you can help me out here, Michael.
I've just sent it to you through Discord if you want to read it out, or I can read it out.
Yeah, so 10 minutes qualifying session, a 28 lap race to start us off tonight, which is due to get underway about 6 minutes ago, and then another 10-minute qualifying for Albert Park and a shorter 10-lap race for the Albert Park race. Now, both of these will have one compulsory pit stop per race. The race that we're about to see, the compulsory pit stop has to be taken between lap 1 and 26.
Which is,
So
yeah,
there
pretty
we go.
standard for...
Yeah, pretty standard for this type of event. So, I mean, the kind of format is actually quite similar to what we're used to. The main thing here just being that the sentence I was thinking about has just escaped my mind. The track's different. Yes, that's what I was going to say. The track is different for the second one. So that is going to be a bit of a change for the drivers to get used to. Suddenly switching into qualifying mode for a completely different racetrack after doing 28 racing laps around this particular track.
And it was something that was a bit point of discussion earlier on the week, but we'll leave that well enough alone for now, and let's talk our way through the grid for this first race of ASC Gen 3. Starting off on pole is Corey McFarlane. He set a 106.8 to set the pole position time. Second place is going to be Sean Allen in the number 2 Popcorn Sim Racing car. And he's got his teammate Alex Cattle right behind him as well in the pair of Camaros. And we're definitely going to trip up and call one of them a Commodore at some point in this race. Trent Allen starts out of 4th, and number 27 Allen Tech Mustang for camp quality. And Kai Jones continuing his form at the end of last season with 5th place in the number 6 SES Camaro. Colin Warwick, series admin, starts from 6th, the number 8 Warwick Racing Team Camaro. No, that one's a Mustang. And Joe Mugford.
We've had Mustangs already for the last couple of years.
I know. Joe Mugford in the number 69 Trans-Tasman Racing Camaro. That one's a Camaro. The car behind him, or actually ahead of him at the moment, is Brandon Dostal in the Pertec liveried number 76 Mustang. That car looks gorgeous. And then Ethan Warren in the Mustang, in the Trans-Tasman car, down in 9th for last season's 2nd place getter. Brody Steen in the number 13 Mustang, followed by Mitchell Allison in the Donut King car. This one would be a favourite, and it already has been a favourite amongst the guys today in 11th place. 12th place is Aiden Sykes in the number 15 SM Camaro. And then Steve Warwick returns in the Black Shores Racing Warwick Racing Team number 63 Camaro. RSM Latinos right behind him. They're continuing their little battle from last year. Jay Borg starts out of 15th place in the Penrite Mustang. David Nenadich returns with the number 89 Zach Baker or ZBR Mustang. Cameron Parrott in the number 5 MLSS Mustang down at 17th. 18th will be Lachlan Horan in the number 83 Camaro. Tony in the number 4-1 KSS Mustang. Instinct in the number 17 car down in 20th. And rounding out the grid, Kurt Stenberg with a rear grid start. And that is our 21 car grid for this first race at Newcastle Stairs.
Brilliantly done, Michael, and brilliantly done as well to our admin team for getting those liveries and the Gen 3 car ready for our 2023 season. Starting on the 4th of September, the revs are rising, Michael. We're about to go racing for the first time in 2023, and off they go. Corey McFarlane got a dream start, left the others for dead as they all squabble to get through the first corner.
And it's McFarlane from Kai Jones to 2nd place. So it seems to be a bit of a shocking start for the 2 PCR cars.
We've got a flashing yellow. Is that a safety car? Yellow.
I'm not sure. It seems to be, but I don't know why.
Yeah, they've slowed down. They've slowed down. So was someone in the fence early at the back of the field that we didn't see?
I didn't see, but possibly. I'm going back and having a look because it seems that Lachlan Horan and Instinct are a bit further back behind the field. So I'm trying to see what's happened there. But I am not sure as to why there's a safety car at this point, Stairs.
Yeah, so no live timing as yet on my screen, but let's just have a quick recap of the one corner of racing that we have seen. Kai Jones, the big winner, up 3 spots from where he started this race, so that is mighty impressive from Kai Jones. Alex Cattle started 3rd, is 3rd. David Nenadich somehow up 12 spots. What on earth has he done? That is absolutely unbelievable. We've had one corner of racing, and David Nenadich is best on ground so far, although he's just let someone past him, I believe, so I wonder if he jumped the start. Sean Allen is down 3 spots, so he's probably the one with the saddest frown as we start this 2023 season. I'm just looking to see if they pick up the safety car, and I can't see it on the screen just yet, but so that's a little bit strange.
Yes, it is just actually going through turn 2, so it's just ahead of the pack. The only thing I can think of that would have caused the safety car is it looked like Lachlan Horan effectively missed the start. It looked like he didn't get off the line at all. As we've got a stream of pit stop Stairs, we've had it looks like Colin Warwick, Kurt Stenberg, Colin Warwick picked up a penalty, as is Brody Steen, as is, I reckon, Ethan Warren's about to pick up a penalty as well.
So was that for speeding in the pit lane, or were they not meant to pit?
Well, that was what I was just about to ask, because they both just exited the pit lane. I think it must be for speeding, Stairs.
Yeah, so drive-through penalty, that is not going to improve their mood as we get this season underway. But yeah, I think we're still none the wiser as to why we are actually under these safety car conditions. So We're not offering a lot of value as far as knowledge for this broadcast. It does give us a chance to become a little bit more acquainted with some of the liveries as they kind of tour around at a more sedate pace than we are used to. Now, some of these cars that were kind of out of position looks like they've been doing a bit of shuffling. I don't know if they're getting word through from the admins to shuffle back, because Corey McFarlane is back where, well, he started in first and he is first, but Sean Allen is back where he started in second place. Alex Cattle's back in third, so Kai Jones is still up one spot from where he started, and yeah, there's a lot of cars pulling over and swapping positions going on at the moment, so I'm not 100% sure what's going on. Another car coming into the pits.
I suspect that we've got a suggestion in the chat from Nathan Higginson that the track might have been glitched for some reason and might have just started under safety car because it's had no cars moving for some reason. I don't know. But I went back and had a look at David Energy's start, and where he got all those positions was actually on the way down the hill from turns 3 through to the turn 6 section. Basically, it looked like everyone kind of shut off the accelerator, and he just stayed in it, and just the seas parted in front of him. So I wonder if he's now being told to drop back, because he's now down into 9th, and that's including a few cars that are pitted around him. So
yeah, possibly fair if he's got that on merit, though, does it?
Oh, well, the question is, of course, was that on merit if the race was already under safety car?
That's true. I didn't see exactly when that yellow was thrown. It was sort of, I noticed it as they were coming out of turn 1, but that doesn't necessarily mean it didn't happen prior to that. So, well, you know, we always have interesting starts to these, you know, whenever something new occurs. Yeah, Mr. Walshy73, one of our long-time viewers of the stream, saying competition caution. Do you really need a competition caution before they've got to the first corner, Floody?
Or, I mean, maybe at Newcastle.
Yeah, so it's yeah. There's still a long way to go in this race. I say race, we've had about 300 meters of racing so far. Let's see if we can catch up with the front of the field, because they are coming around to finish a lap soon. So we will see if the safety car comes in. The lights are off, but that doesn't mean anything.
We're going around. No.
I don't think the lights were on anyway, so anywho. Yes.
What this does give us a little chance to talk about is to talk about these Gen 3 cars. Now, I mentioned that I had a bit of a muck around in them before, and what I can say is that they definitely feel different to the previous generation cars. So the guys who have been working on the mod have done a great job to make it feel different, to make it feel like there's less downforce. I dropped in and had a chat to a few people beforehand, and I managed to catch Sean Allen while he was setting some pre-event testing going, and he said that one of the challenges with this car is that because there's a lot less downforce, you've got to get the sort of braking over the front of the car and the weight transfer forward to get it to sort of turn. So, you know, he was struggling with a bit of understeer, but once he discovered that, it made him feel a lot more comfortable, and he said that he basically got it to turn on a dime for him after, you know, figuring out that he could trail back a bit deeper into corners. So that's one of the reasons why he seems to have found a lot of pace. In fact, he said to me in before the day that he's found love for the first time in a sim racing car. So
for the first time, he's not someone who was particularly slow before.
Sorry, for the first time in a long time, I'll say. Okay. I'll add that.
Fair enough.
And as well, the actual aperture out the front window, particularly in the Camaro, is tiny. So I wonder if that will have an effect a bit later on when we get to some of these corners, whether or not you can actually see the apex and see where you're placing the car.
As a bit of an amateur photographer myself, I appreciate you using the word aperture to describe the gate coming through the windscreen, so you would say it's quite a small aperture, a low f-stop.
Yeah, it's low exposure.
Yes, so you would hope that they've got sensitive eyes so that they can see enough information through that very small aperture. But the safety car is in, Michael, and we are due for a restart to this race, and we still have pit callers coming into the pits. You might be able to see who those are, but meanwhile at the front, Corey McFarlane is going through the first corner from Sean Allen and Alex Cattle behind.
So the pit callers were Brody Steen and Colin Warwick, and they're actually the two taking their drive-through penalty, it seems. But that's immaterial to Corey McFarlane, who leads the field through turn 2 and 3 and down the hill.
Yeah, so are they allowed to take their penalties on the safety car restart, I wonder? Because they would lose less time than if they did it previously, because the cars aren't up to full speed when they're taking those penalties.
I have absolutely no idea.
It's probably more of a rhetorical question. I didn't expect you to know the answer to that, but I suppose Colin, being one of the admins, surely would know whether that's allowed or not.
Just a bit further down the pack stairs, Kai Jones made a bit of a dive on, I think that was Trent Allen at the exit of turn 7, just coming back down the hill, and they just made contact, and it's actually compressed that big battle pack.
Oh, Trent Allen having a little bit of a slide to the inside. Lucky there was no wall there, but he loses a few spots doing that.
But now we've got this big battle pack behind Kai Jones, Brandon Dostal, Ethan Warren, and Mitch Allison, Trent Allen. And is that already... No, that can't be Kurt Stenberg there in 10th position. 9th position, yes it is.
Yeah, remember we have had quite a few pit callers, so the grid is a little bit mixed up as a result of this, but nonetheless it is a good effort to be up there.
Yeah, so this
he is 13th place and looking hungry for more.
Yeah, it's going absolutely gangbusters in that little mid pack now. Ethan Warren's actually made his way through as well, and he's hassling the rear of Kai Jones. Here he goes into turn 6 and gets that moved on.
Beg your pardon, I couldn't. Please tell me what position you're talking about so I can quickly get there. Apologies, I'm still working the buttons. So yes, there is Ethan Warren. Apologies, we just missed that. I wonder if the replay button still works. Bloody hell it does. Look at that. There you go. There is Ethan Warren making his way past, who was that? Kai Jones?
Kai Jones.
For 4th place. So we're still getting used to some of the liveries. Thankfully, the TTR guys are running a livery very similar to what they did prior to the move to Gen 3, as Corey McFarlane sets the fastest lap of the race.
Yes, a 107.9, so still quite a ways away from the qualifying pace.
Ethan Warren brushing the wall very quickly. Apologies for cutting right across you there, Michael.
No stress at all, Stairs. It's quite a... You don't really know where to look. As I said earlier, it's a bit claustrophobic. In any corner, any car could find their way into the wall. And it looks like, just as I'm looking at the top of the hill, David Nenadic getting sideways, and Kurt Stenberg trying to battle the cars. The cars really look like you've got to hustle them, which is the word that I remember Alex Cattle using in our conversation before. That's the one. It's hustling. You've got to hustle these cars around.
Yeah, well, he's doing a pretty good job hustling his car up in 3rd place. It's stretching out a bit at the front with Corey McFarlane, 1.7 seconds from Sean Allen and Alex Cattle. They used to be Race on Oz, Alex Cattle and Sean
Allen.
And Sean Allen. PSR now is what they're being called. So I don't know. I haven't had a chance yet to research what PSR exactly stands for.
So they told me it's Popcorn Sim Racing.
Oh, there you go. So, well, let's hope they are able to produce some popcorn sim racing for us as we are about to get the popcorn out to watch Alex Cattle deal with the Ethan Warren that is occupying his rear vision mirror. We knew it wouldn't take him long to get up to speed, would we? Would it?
No, not at all.
There he goes. He's just let him past. He's let him past.
That was...
Very, very...
weird.
Very weird. Because he's lost quite a bit of time in doing that, so I wasn't expecting that, if I'm quite honest. But I guess that's the Warren effect.
That's
a little
the aura.
Bit like, if you're driving a Formula 1 car in 1988 and you see a yellow helmet driving a McLaren coming up behind you, you don't want to mess that lap up. You've got to jump out the way.
So it's almost as if the Jaws music starts playing.
Ethan Warren, let's have a look at his lap times. 107.8 on the last time of asking, and that was the fastest of anyone on track right now. So Corey McFarlane's fastest lap at 107.9, about a tenth or half a tenth slower. But Corey's got to watch out because Ethan is on his pace at the moment.
Yeah, and it hasn't taken long for Ethan to get up to speed. I wonder if he's found a bit more balance with the heavier fuel load or something along those lines. You know, this brand new spec of car might be something that they're all just trying to slowly wrap their head around. And it might be, you know, one of those things where you race longer into the night and you figure out the car more and more and more. So maybe by the end of the season, maybe halfway through Bathurst, they'll finally figure out what the heck this car likes and how they can hustle it around.
Well, they've only got a couple of rounds until we actually get to Bathurst. I think it's 21st of October is the date slated for that at the moment. And I think there's one, maybe 2 rounds in between then and now. There is a provisional calendar out, but I know dates are subject to change.
Yes, from what I remember,
a lot of time to get to grips with these cars.
A battle for 6th on at the moment. Brandon Dostal and Kai Jones are putting some Morse code on each other's cars as they try and come through that section. And in fact, they've got they're just behind Kurt Stenberg. So Kurt Stenberg has actually managed to weave his way between them and through them to take 5th place.
So apologies, we missed that, but we always used to miss lots of things anyway. So nothing much has changed.
Nothing's changed, yeah.
But a lot of people setting their personal best on the last lap. The timing screen lighting up with purple, which in this particular live timing website that we're looking at seems to mean personal best, not best overall, because you can't have 15 purple laps if it was to mean fastest lap of the race. Kai Jones going a little bit wide there and putting himself under significant pressure for Brandon Dostal.
We've got safety car stairs.
We certainly do. So another safety car.
And it's at the top of the hill. 17th place, Jay Borg. He is in the tyre barrier hard at turn 2, and it looks like it to be with Aiden Sykes.
Oh, that looks like there's been a tangle there, does it not? So let's see if we can catch a replay there. Let's see what has occurred. In fact, it's happened quite a bit. There's been more than 2 cars involved, in fact. Jay Borg, so I think it was the car. Oh, there was already a TTR car in the wall there. So, and that's the car that caused the pile-up. I didn't see which
suspect
TTR
that
car
would be Mugford then, if based on that position.
Yes, 69.
69. Nice.
So
in the midst of that stairs, we've had some pit callers. We've had Corey McFarlane, Sean Allen, Alex Cattle, Kurt Stenberg's come through the pits, Brandon Dostal, Kai Jones, it looks like. Who's that there? That's Ethan Warren's come through the pits as well. David, it's a traffic jam in pit lane at the moment, Stairs.
It certainly is. We were just catching up with the replay of Joe Mugford there losing it all by himself and causing that pile-up. But there is the scramble to get to the end of the pit lane. So those will be the cars that hadn't done their compulsory pit stop prior in the previous safety car period. It's a long way to go to the end from here, still.
Yes, indeed it is. Another 18 laps, in fact. We've got a drive-through penalty for Steve Warwick.
That makes both the Warwicks getting drive-through penalties today, so it's not been a great day if your name's Warwick. Last name, that is. I mean...
And I wonder, I reckon it might... Well, it's probably for pit lane speeding, I would suggest. Or it might be for crossing the pit lane blend line. Is that something that one of the listeners checks?
Oh, Trent Allen was about to come into the pits and he's completely changed his mind. Maybe he wanted to lead a lap. So we were just watching him. That was actually on a replay, so that's happened about 20 seconds ago, apologies. So that is that's Trent Allen, who's picked up the safety car now. He was just about to come into the pits behind a bunch of other cars and completely changed his mind at probably the last possible moment. And as a result, he leads a lap. I don't know whether that's going to work out for a strategy. I didn't see whether he pit early. I don't know if you remember that, Michael.
I don't, unfortunately.
So Cameron Parrott in second place now. We have quite a jumbled order as a result of this. Couple of safety car periods. So Cameron Parrott, who last year was in the ever-present Tim Horton's Canadian Tire Maple Sim Sports car, now driving the, what is that, Fanatec. They've still got Canadian Tire on the bonnet, so there is still a bit of a Canadian connection there. Hey. Bombardier on the side. Nonetheless, still a fantastic livery. So Corey McFarlane in third place. So he's taken that pit stop. He's only lost 2 spots by doing that. But Ethan Warren, look at that, right behind him.
Yes, and that will be a cause for concern. I think having a Warren behind you, while feeling great at the time, is a cause for concern at any point in the race.
That's right. I'm just wondering how Sean Allen's lost so many spots. He's now behind Stenberg and Jones. And of course,
Yeah, that was-
Alex Cattle and Ethan Warren, who he was in front of prior to this safety car period.
You read my mind, Stairs. Very good. Our powers of telepathy have come back very quickly, it seems.
Oh, well, that's good.
And it seems as well that Cole Warwick and Steve Warwick have found each other on track. They're in 15th and 16th. Yeah, I wonder what's happened to Sean Allen. But I think the one that might be a little out of place, besides Trent Allen leading, sorry, Trent, is Tony in the number 411. I'm not sure if he hasn't taken his pit stop yet, but he seems to be a little... well, not quite a driver I would expect to be in that position at this stage of the race, and hopefully he's able to make the most of it. Oh, as the safety car backs everyone up in the penultimate corner and causes a bit of a nose-tail contact, and then we're going to go straight back to green, I guess.
I guess, yeah, that was a bit unexpected. Who was that, Jay Borg coming into the pits? Stop-go penalty for
Tony.
Tony.
Tony coming into the pits, so...
There we go.
I'm confused.
Yeah, so that looks like some sort of start line infringement or restart infringement. Sometimes those sorts of things can be cleared by live stewards if they have a moment. But anyway, we're back racing with Trent Allen in the lead from Corey McFarlane. Ethan Warren in behind him. Cameron Parrott down in 4th place.
Yep, and both of them just got past Parrott on the entry to turn 2. So he's both McFarlane and Warren very quick to get past to Cameron Parrott there.
Yeah, so I think we'll keep eyes on this battle between 2nd and 3rd place, Corey McFarlane and Ethan Warren. When Trent Allen does decide to make his pit stop and commit to that decision, then this will be the battle for the lead of this race. So Corey McFarlane seemed to have the pace. Oh, that's a late move. Dives down the inside, does Corey McFarlane. Into the back goes Ethan Warren, and they both look to have made the move on Trent Allen.
Oh,
not quite
done yet for Ethan. That was a little awkward.
I think he's got it now. He can't go into the pits now because that's where Ethan Warren is. But he doesn't want to anyway by the looks of it. So he's happy to slot in behind. And so this battle will resume. It is now a battle for the lead with Corey McFarlane leading by about 0.6 of a second. That got mighty close though.
That was a little awkward, if you do say. It's very difficult to get two cars to thread their way through that final corner, and it was very lucky that Ethan was able to get around the outside, and very well done to Trent Allen there to actually maintain the car's width around the outside, especially with these cars that they're quite substantially wider than the older cars. So you got to leave a little bit more room, a little bit more clearance on each side. So well done, Trent, there, and he's actually doing a good job in holding up Alex Cattle as we come onto the back straight.
Yeah, certainly is doing a good job. There's quite a bit of holding up going on further on down the field. Looks like Stenberg's got a little bit of a train behind him while he gets the tyres back up to temperature. All sorts of side-by-side going on behind as these cars kind of look to re-establish themselves in this race and kind of find a little bit of a rhythm.
I'm going to bring us back up to the front because McFarlane's made a mistake around the final corner. He missed the apex by a country mile there, and Ethan Warren is very, very close now as they go through turn 1, and it will be coming up the hill. Whether or not Ethan can maybe take a lunge down to the inside.
Yeah,
it looks like he's got
a little bit too far back there. Yeah, it looks like he has just decided to slot in behind there. He goes for a much tighter line and seems to get quite a bit of grip. He's able to hang with Corey McFarlane through that section, and that was mighty, mighty close, but of course the track tightens up and your opportunities are few and far between through here.
Yes, indeed, especially with these wider cars. You almost need a bit of the Simona Di Silvestro magic to just try and fire a pass down the inside of one of those corners. But it looks like... Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, I just remember Scotty McLaughlin firing Simona Di Silvestro into the wall on that ill-fated attempt for his first championship that was ill-fated.
That's a different kind of magic in that one, Stairs.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to steer away from that. I started something I didn't want to finish.
Well, I didn't want you to finish it, and I didn't want to finish it myself, so I just sort of let you dig your own hole. Or dig up out of your own hole.
Check out the battle for 6th at the moment. Brandon Dostal, Kai Jones, Colin Warwick, Cameron Parrott, Joe Mugford. They were tripping over each other at the final corner, and as they all go into one, it's nuts to butts through the section going up the hill.
Not wrong. That is very, very tight indeed. So as they go up there, Brandon Dostal, he's proving to be a little bit of a cork in the bottle, but, you know, he's there, and they have to get past him. So Brandon Dostal qualified well, actually, in 8th place.
They stream down the hill. They fan out here, 2-3 wide almost, as Kai Jones has got Colin Warwick very close for company. It's very clear to see how much these new cars move around a lot. You can sort of see as they come down the hill and as they go on the Exeter corners, just these little squirms, these little moments where the what was the word? Hustle, where they're hustling the cars around. So it's very much a different sort of driving style, even though they're still these big brutish V8 machines.
Yeah, well, that's the sort of racing we like to see, isn't it? People fighting the car and bit of a tail slapping the wall incident there. Who's that coming into the pits? Yellow car. I think that's the camp quality car.
That was Trent Allen.
Yep, so Trent Allen in the pits. Finally, he was the one earlier on who decided against making a pit stop during the safety car, as we look like we have a move going on down the inside there. And Colin Warwick moves his way up into 6th place.
Colin Warwick on Kai Jones there. Just quickly, Stairs, you might see if you look a bit further up, the green car of Sean Allen, he's actually a lap down. I'm not sure what's happened to cause that, but he just come out of the pits and he's now a lap down. So unfortunate for Allen, after what was a very strong qualifying.
Yeah, you can see he's just tailing behind the lead battle between Corey McFarlane and Ethan Warren there, so that's unfortunate for him. We saw that he lost quite a few positions under that safety car. Wonder if he had some damage or something picked up during that period of time that we failed to pick up, because that could explain his initial drop down the field after the safety car, or, you know, when he came into his pit stop during the safety car period, and then the continuing loss of time. His lap time's 108.4. It's not that far off the pace, actually. It's only half a second or so. But, well, maybe that's because he's since had the damage fixed.
Yeah, quite possibly. It's a bit of a shame. Not how you want your season to start, especially when you qualify in 2nd place. But we do have another race tonight, an entirely different location. So hopefully he'll be able to find something at Albert Park, which would be quite a scene change.
Got the pace, though. That's the important thing. So, you know, that'll continue to occur, I believe. Unless this is just one track specific. But you did say he was in love with the car. So that suggests to me that he is going to continue to fight up the pointy end of the grid.
I didn't ask if he tested it at Albert Park yet, so I guess we'll have to find out.
We will. Ethan Warren is, yeah, let's see. Hang on, what's happened to Corey McFarlane? Oh, it's a timing glitch. He's he dropped down the field and now he's back in 1st. So that was a little bit of a heart-in-mouth moment for Corey McFarlane fans, because it looked for a moment as though the timing screen was showing Ethan Warren in front. But as far as their lap times, they're very, very close indeed. A 10th separating them.
You would have just heard me protest in the background. That was because I saw Brandon Dostal fire across the turn 1 curb and into the tyre barrier on the outside. And it looks like he may even have a puncture, because that car is turning very lamely around the top of the hill.
Brandon Dostal, did you say?
Yes, he's lost the position. He's lost 5th place to Colin Warwick, and now he sits in 6th, just ahead of Kai Jones. Yeah,
so we did see Colin making that move. Doesn't look like he has a puncture, but he might be carrying a bit of damage, and into
Kai
the
Jones
wall behind. Here goes Kai Jones. So we were thinking like we might be seeing Kai Jones going past Brandon Dostal. Instead, Kai Jones looked like he lost it on his own.
I think what he's done there is he's tagged the inside wall with the hip, I guess you'd call it, of the Camaro, and that's what sent him around. It looks like he basically sideswiped the apex.
So we rejoin this battle for the lead. Ethan Warren keeping Corey McFarlane honest, but not really able to blast past like we've seen others sort of fall foul of the Warrens in the past. You know, it has felt like a little bit of a foregone conclusion whenever a Warren brother has caught up to someone for the lead, that the the position will swap hands soon, but that hasn't happened yet.
Not yet. There is still time. There is still time. And I did see a flash of a yellow flag, but it looks like we've gone back to green. I saw almost said Synergy Sim Raid. It's not one of those. I saw Aiden Sykes sideways in the background, but it looks like we're back to green and we are still continuing on. This is good. I think this is good to see a little bit of a shake-up at the very pointy end. You know, we saw so much last year of the Warrens dominating everyone, and for good reason. They're extremely skilled, and you know the demonstrations that they were putting on were phenomenal. But it is nice to sort of see a few new names up the front, notably that of Corey McFarlane, Alex Cattle, Kurt Stenberg, and for a while there, Sean Allen.
Yeah, of course. You know, the Warrens are big Sim supporters, and we know they love watching these broadcasts. Father and grandfather and mother and brother, I'm sure, tuning into races all the time. But you know, I'm sure they would admit as well as we do to, you know, a bit of variety and seeing different people win certainly spices it up. It's a little bit. You know, sometimes it can be a little bit F1 2023 when the same driver wins every single race.
Every race, you say? Gosh.
To be honest, I didn't see last night's race yet, so I'm just assuming Max won it.
It was a better race than I was expecting, if that makes you feel any worse.
This is how low our standards have dropped.
Yes, indeed. Good thing we've got sim racing to keep our standards high, because at the moment, Ethan Warren has closed that gap now. It is effectively nothing, and I've noticed this a few laps now. Ethan takes a much tighter line down the front straight, approximately straight, and sticks really close to the pit wall, and I'm not sure if that's a market improvement over what McFarlane's doing, but it's certainly something different.
He was certainly a lot closer throughout the last couple of corners of that previous lap, and he's doing a bit of bumping and running here. I think he pushed him into the wall. Is he going to take advantage? The track just kind of goes slightly the wrong way there, and maybe Ethan Warren lifted out of it and didn't want to take advantage of nudging Corey McFarlane into the wall a little bit there.
There was another nudge there, and he's gone. He's dived down.
He certainly has. I think that was probably all fair, really, to be honest. It was, you know, maybe a little bit of a nudge, but in the end, that is sometimes the kind of rubbings racing action that we see. But Corey McFarlane's not going to give this one away. Let's see if he makes a bit of a counter-attack.
As they settle the cars down for the hairpin, he goes towards the inside. There's not quite enough room there. Well, Ethan gives him a bit of room, but now Corey's on the wrong side as they head into the final corner. And Ethan has to go shallow. Can Corey open up the steering a bit earlier, get on the throttle a bit earlier? They're going to go side by side down the main straight. But once again, Ethan's got the inside line through turn one. And can Corey stay around the outside? No, he can't. But he's got the inside this time. He's got the inside up the hill this time. He's got a little bit of an overlap as they head up towards turn two. And
he's going to go for it. He's going to go for it. He's got the inside. And they're sliding their way through in unison. I think it's still going to be Ethan Warren, I should say, who has the high line on the way through and manages to find his way still in the lead of this race. This is holding up Sean Allen a little bit, who's behind them a lap down with a terrific view of this little battle. Oh, an awkward moment there for Ethan Warren. And it's somehow not enough to allow Corey back through, but he's just nudged the wall a little bit through there.
He was very lucky to get away with that. It looked like he almost got spooked by by Corey's move on the inside, and as they fired down into the hairpin, try and settle the car
that looks
for
like
this
a
big
late
braking
move.
zone.
Oh, I thought he was going straight into the wall there, but he somehow manages to pull it up, and it's exactly the same scenario as we had on the previous lap, where he got sort of through, but then the next lap, the next corner went slightly the wrong way. But this time it is going to be Ethan who has the inside line going into the first corner. It looked like Corey had a little bit of a run on him there.
But Ethan tagged the wall there on the outside quite substantially, and that's going to be enough this time for McFarlane to get ahead by the braking zone. Now, can he box Ethan out at the top of the hill? Yes, he does. So
Beautiful. This
time it is McFarlane that takes the lead back of the race, and I got to commend McFarlane's sort of racecraft there. He really tried to hustle Ethan to try and get the inside line into turn one, but in the end, he was able to actually force the mistake, and he's held onto it. But now, can he hold onto it for the rest of the race? It's 4 laps left after this one, Stairs, and this has been a thrilling battle.
Oh, Sean Allen watching this, God, he'd be wishing that he was 1 lap further up so he could be part of this battle. But I'm sure he's being mightily entertained by this happening in front of him. He's got the best seat in the house, apart maybe from us. But my goodness, what a place to be.
We've had just a DNF. I think it's Mitchell Steele. Allison has DNF from the race. I'm not sure what's happened there. We also had Instinct DNF a bit earlier. Just a quick update as well. Kurt Stenberg has gotten past Alex Cattle for 3rd place, a bit in the background. So he's worked his way up the field. But we'll see what we can discover a bit later on.
Yeah, so Corey's managed to hold on. He's got a clear lead there, or just as I say that, he goes a little bit wide, and Ethan, once again, preferring a tighter inside sort of line there. Doesn't work out for him because he just didn't quite have the overlap, but this is certainly not done, and now we've got a little bit of lapped traffic potentially coming into it. Is that David Nenadich or Zach Baker up ahead in the ZB car? He's got an awkward position. Oh, he's really awkwardly positioned there. He's balked Corey McFarlane. Is Ethan going to be able to take advantage of that? They're almost 3 wide there, and it looks like, I think Ethan might have lifted out there because he didn't want to take advantage of the lapped runner. I don't know. Was that the purest racer, or was that just me imagining things?
Well, he might not have wanted to take advantage at that point, but he's looking to try and take advantage around the outside into the final corner. They crisscross around. But it's as you were. As someone who watches a lot of sports cars and multi-class racing, you always take advantage of the lap runner, Stairs.
Well, it's Ethan Warren. He's got to turn a pace on him. Maybe he's enjoying this battle. He really wants it to continue. We've got 3 laps remaining in this race, so it's going to come right down to the wire. Ethan Warren is going down to the inside. Wow, McFarlane really left the door open for him there, and he's not defended the inside at all, and Ethan has gone through that door willingly.
I think McFarlane was trying to set up for the over-under, but the problem was, because of the way that corner is shaped, when you get over the crest there, you lose all traction at the rear, and when he was trying to get that traction down to get the under of the over-under, there just wasn't anything there, and there wasn't enough space in front of him to really get it done. So he's been relegated to 2nd, but he's going to try and set up this move into the hairpin once again. Watch this. He's going to peel towards the inside. There he goes. And has he gotten enough on the brakes?
I think he is. It always looks there as though he's going to go straight into the wall on the outside, but it's just he seems to have a really good feel under brakes with these Gen 3 cars, does Corey McFarlane. But alas, the way that circuit goes is we've got a little bit of a yellow flag here, which continues. It's a solid yellow, so someone might be in the fence. No, we've cleared the yellow. It's back on again. So not sure exactly what's causing that. It's gone away again. That will mean that we can have an inside look into this corner. Corey McFarlane going down the inside like Ethan went on the previous lap. But Ethan seems to have the better traction on the outside and manages to hang on to the lead there. Yellow flag again.
So the yellow flag, David Nenadich has managed to find his way outside of the circuit is what has caused this yellow flag. So I'm not sure what is happening there.
That's not the first time that's happened to him.
So maybe not the first. Well, is it the first time at Newcastle? In any case, I think that yellow flag can be safely ignored, as I've just seen Trent Allen save a massive slide through turn 1. That one would just be for me, as this time Corey McFarlane goes to the inside. He's gone well deep under brakes, and there's contact. And has he managed to hold it? Yes, he has. That was a block. That was a MotoGP block pass there. Yeah, and he's very lucky to get away with that.
Well, yeah, I think there was contact there, so Ethan wasn't really in a position to take advantage of it. So it was a little bit one of those awkward ones. But I think he's letting Ethan back through. That he looked like he left it out of that, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I think that would be a fair thing to do for McFarlane, but he looks like he wants to go straight back on the case again. He goes up the inside into turn 1. Ethan later on the brakes, they go up over the crest and plunge back down the hill. They're going to try and go side by side. Surely not, as they come down the hill. And it's Ethan from McFarlane once again.
Half a lap to go, and so the opportunities...
That's the last lap? Oh
yes,
my gosh.
It is Corey McFarlane. Yeah, well, this is something we've got to get used to, is keeping an eye on that lap counter, because certainly that's a trick for young players. I've called them coming across to start the last lap as they've finished the race more than a couple of times in the early days. But Corey's not going to die wondering. He's going to try and go down the inside. Surely Ethan covers that off. It's always been a very difficult move to make work because the next corner doesn't quite go the right way. Sliding the back end does Ethan Warren and somehow manages to hang on to it. Oh, that's a late move for Corey. He's trying everything in his playbook, but I think he's not quite got enough. It's going to be a drag race to the line. Who's going to win? Ethan hangs on. And that was the opening race of the 2023 season in the Gen 3 cars. And boy, did it live up to the weight that we had to endure.
Absolutely. What a battle at the front. Kurt Stenberg third, Colin Warwick managed to get over Alex Cattle for fourth and fifth. And then Joe Monkford, Brandon Dostal, Brody Steen come across the line in eighth. Looks like it would be Kai Jones in ninth and Trent Allen to round out the top 10. Boys, Stairs, what a battle up the front. Those two, Corey McFarlane and Ethan Warren, were throwing everything at each other for the better part of, it felt like, 12 or 13 laps there that we were treated between these two.
Yeah, it certainly did. Apologies to everyone else who we ignored while we were focusing on that battle for the lead, but I'm sure that's what our viewers would have wanted to see. So it's great to see such a huge number of cars back racing here in ASC, and a great battle at the front for the lead. I'm sure there were many other battles and many other stories that went on during that race that we didn't have the opportunity to see as well.
A few of those, the DNFs, I had a look back. Mitchell Allison, he blew his engine, breaking into the hairpin. David Nedich, we saw, managed to escape the confines of this sim racing cage and found his way onto the beach. And Aiden Sykes, I saw him end up down the escape road at the bottom of the Seaside Hill at, I think that's turn 6. And I didn't quite get a handle on what had happened to him beforehand, whether or not that was an engine issue or whether or not that was a damage issue, but he DNF'd from the race as well. So plenty of stories to go around, but the big one was up the front. Yeah,
so from pole, Corey McFarlane led away and led a lot of the race, but Ethan Warren was coming fast from where he qualified, which was ninth position. So it's a lot of positions he's made up. It's been a bit of a tale of this race because Kurt Stenberg started at the back with his rear of grid penalty, which has to be one of the longest periods between committing the offence in order to get the penalty and then serving the penalty. Something like 10 months or so, but he's managed to overcome that and finish on third place on the podium.
A few reports from the chat is that Aiden Sykes had his engine blow up as well, so that solves that little conundrum. As the season moves on straight away, Stairs, and moves on to Albert Park for the next race. Very
fast, breaking the sound of the speed of sound. Michael Zalavari and Josh Baggs are not your commentators. I've still got graphics from last round on the screen. So
last year.
Yes. So do beg your pardon that all of that stuff, life gets in the way. We don't have time to update all of these things sometimes. But the important thing is we're bringing you the action from these two races. So Newcastle gets left behind. We're jumping two states, well, one state rather. Newcastle's in New South Wales, isn't it? And
yes.
Down into Albert Park in the Melbourne Parklands.
Yes, around, in fact, Albert Park. Who'd have thought?
Funny that.
Now, I don't know about you, Stairs, but I can't think of two more dissimilar tracks than Newcastle Street Circuit and Albert Park.
Yeah, well, what are you talking about? They're both public roads.
Yeah.
Very different in terms of we've got, a lot of wide open racetrack. A FIA Grade 1 circuit, holds the Melbourne Grand Prix every year. So, yes, it is. And it is billiard table smooth as far as racetracks, street racetracks are concerned. So, yes, that is going to be a bit of an adjustment. A much quicker race, just the 10 laps. And we'll have 10... I'd say it's 10 laps, but it is a longer lap, so I suppose
it'll be about 15 to 18 minutes, I reckon.
Which is good. I'm looking forward to a decent crack at that racetrack.
Yeah. I'm just keeping an eye on the the Discord chat that everyone's sort of posting in. A few comments very happy with the cars and how these race, but a lot of people saying the rear tires were not happy at Newcastle.
But that makes us happy, Michael. When we see them struggling, it makes it very entertaining for us.
Indeed, it did. I want to have a quick comment about this circuit, the Albert Park circuit, because it's the 2022 version, so it's the updated version, and that makes the back end of the circuit really quite fast. The run through the old turn 9 through to the sort of lakeside chicane, the really fast chicane, it's just absolutely mental in these cars. And again, similar to what we were saying with getting the weight transfer onto the front, it's much harder with this high speed sort of circuit because, you know, a lot of the time you're kind of dancing the weight around because you don't want to take too much pace off the car, because you want to keep the speed up because the corners are so fast. So it's quite a different challenge here. And something about this circuit, of course, is that it encourages you to be greedy because every single corner has these massive aprons of runoff and curbs that it just, as we're watching, I think we've still got eyes on David Enedich here coming through this new section of track. This is the new turn 6 as David takes a very scenic line through there, but you can see these aprons, these curbs with these concrete aprons on the outside, that all they do is they just encourage you to be greedy and take more and take more and take more, and then all of a sudden you'll be one wheel on the grass and you'll be gone. So that'll be, I'm interested to see how these cars and these drivers deal with being a bit greedy.
Yeah, and this is a racetrack that we have only raced on in this configuration once. I think it was early last year where we took out the chicane, and so that part is a lot quicker now. So that change, which was done to aid overtaking in Formula 1, certainly made it a faster racetrack and a bit more exciting in that section.
Yeah, and as well, it's one of the, in these cars, I noticed at least that it's not, that section is not flat.
No, which adds to the challenge. We like to see the drivers challenged.
It's quite terrifying when you want to keep your foot to the floor and then all of a sudden the rear starts overtaking the front.
Yes,
so,
definitely.
Especially later in this race, watch for that to become more of a challenge.
So we are giving the drivers a bit of an opportunity to acquaint themselves with the racetrack before they jump straight into qualifying. So you'll notice the timer on the top left-hand side of your screen says that we have 6.5 minutes remaining in this practice session. So that being said, 10 minutes is not a very long time to, get your head out of Newcastle and into Albert Park.
Yeah, it's an entirely different kettle of fish, as they say. That's definitely the expression. But if I was anyone in this field, I would be getting as much time on track as I can, just to get my head around the difference. That you don't have to be as gentle on the throttle coming out of these slow corners, because there's not all that many slow corners. You got to be a bit more aggressive, but it's all about throttle control. Kurt Stenberg sitting in the garage at the moment. I respect that he's the admin. He's done a lot of testing in these cars, but not like that.
Yeah, so, well, I mean, to be fair, he has been sim racing for a very long time, but, he's still human, isn't he?
It's true.
Yes. So we're getting a bit of news, speaking of Kurt Stenberg, coming through on the live chat about the first safety car, which was for a stalled car at the back of the grid, so that's something you miss. The second one for a big accident with Jay Borg, which we did
catch.
Well,
and
Jay
actually,
was the trigger for a bit of a pile up there.
Well, it's pertinent actually, Stairs, that you've got Lachlan Horan on the screen, because he's actually come through and apologised in the Discord, saying that he was the one that was the stalled car on the line. And I did go back and check that, and I did see that he actually didn't get off the line, but it was so weird that it was like almost immediate that it was what caused the safety car straight away.
Yeah, also, you did mention that, it might have been something to do with the track not really recognising the car.
The start,
but, maybe it was like right at its threshold, and, the stalled car was the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak, as far as triggering that safety car. But, these little things, what makes Automobilista what it is, and nonetheless, I think that's the first time I've seen a safety car that early on in a race.
Yes, quite possibly.
Like before we got to the first corner, basically.
Yeah, that's basically how it was.
I've seen them on the first corner, but not before the first corner.
Let's hope we don't have a repeat with the second race tonight.
No, let's hope it's pretty clean. It is, of course, a notorious first corner in terms of accidents and incident. The first corner at Albert Park, it's a premium grandstand ticket. Probably goes for upwards of $800 or $900 these days.
Gosh,
if not more.
Is that a 4-day ticket, or do they not do single-day tickets in grandstands anymore?
I don't think they do single-day tickets anymore. I might be wrong, but yeah, I mean, if you want to sour your love of motorsport, go to the Formula One. I think because the hordes of new Netflix fans, and the lack of I'm just bitching now, aren't I? But certainly that first...
You've had 10 months worth of time to get all these arguments piled up.
Well,
here they come.
The first Grand Prix that they had after Netflix and after COVID, it was just like a perfect storm. The organisers weren't ready for the numbers that came, and there was a higher demand than there was before COVID as a result of the Netflix effect and all that sort of stuff. So it basically just meant that you had so many people and people waiting hours for beers and that sort of thing. Probably someone in the chat can who was at that event can probably enlighten me as to whether I'm just talking rubbish or not. But that was my impression that I got from watching the event on TV and having been there 10 years ago when I thought it was busy then, but the numbers that I saw in that 2020, what was it, 21 I think when they first came back, 22.
22 it would have been.
22, yeah. That was insane. I was glad that I was not part of that crowd because it didn't really look like a great motorsport experience. And I thought that was a real shame for, a lot of new fans to the sport. You want to introduce them in a way that they want to come back. And, one of my friends, he was a Netflix fan. He went to Albert Park, and I said, if you really want a good motorsport experience, go to the Bathurst 12-hour. It's a $60 ticket, and the access is unbelievable, and you can go and stand anywhere you want, and it's the best racetrack in Australia.
Yes, and they've got that artificial mound built in across the whole top of the mountain, so you can basically stand anywhere and get an awesome view through the whole way around. I 100% agree with that, Stairs. Bathurst. Anyone watching who hasn't been to Bathurst, you don't understand how good it is until you're there. And I'll say that. And especially the 12-hour. The 12-hour. Did you go to the 12-hour this year, Stairs?
No, I didn't. I'm hoping to get back there maybe next year. We'll see. If not the year after. It's been too long. Pre-COVID, that was when I went the last time.
Oh, of course, 2020, the hottest weekend of motorsport ever.
Yeah, we got showered in dust, and it was sticking to the several layers of sunscreen that I'd applied to my entire body. So I was just like a brown mess by the end of that.
and then it pissed down with rain just as the race ended.
It was quite a tease, that rainstorm, because it was looking like it would occur with maybe 2 or 3 laps to go, and maybe would they come in for wet tyres. It didn't end up happening. And then as soon as the race ended, that was when it started happening. It started pouring down.
Yes, I remember that one. That was quite a special one for me. But I will say this year at the Bathurst 12-hour, I went as ticketed media, and I got to say, I'm not sure if it was the international teams back. I'm not sure if it was the F1 car demonstration. I'm not sure how much of an effect Valentino Rossi had, but it was absolutely packed. They had something like 53,000 people there on race. I'm not sure if that was race day or if that was weekend tally, but still, walking through the paddock on the Saturday, on the qualifying day, where they had all the signing sessions and everything, it was almost as packed as the main event, the 1000. You couldn't have told that it wasn't the Bathurst 1000. It was packed.
Wow. Maybe it's been ruined.
How dare people enjoy this thing that I also enjoy?
Ridiculous. Go away. I've just spooked it. But anyway, it's still, I'm sure, a much more pure racing experience than Albert Park. But still, if you want to go and see Formula One, I don't want to stop you. It's something that you should experience once in your life if you want to. If that's something that you're interested in, because there isn't anything quite like Formula One. But of course, we've got many other categories that you can enjoy as well, and certainly they throw up a little bit more, differing sorts of results sometimes.
Variants, a bit more excitement, a bit less DRS trains.
That's right.
And just as a personal spruik, you should all check out multi-class racing, because if you think one class of cars on track is wild, boy howdy, try 2 or 3.
Boy howdy. Yes.
Boy howdy.
So we've reached the timer on the practice session. Ethan Warren tops that session, only by a small amount over Corey McFarlane. So it looks like the same protagonists that we had at the head of the field on the previous track.
Yeah, and interestingly, Stairs, Colin Warwick is next on, only a 10th behind, and then it's a full second back to the Allens, Trent and Sean, no relation.
Yeah, different.
I assume no relation.
Well, yes, ALLAN and ALLEN is probably, well, unless
a key indicator.
A key indicator, unless there was a typo. But people don't tend to spell their own names wrong, generally speaking, and they would have put their own names into Automobilista when they set it up, did all that sort of thing. But maybe they were so excited to get their sim up and running, plug all the cables in for their rig that they've, decided to forego the usual spell check on their name when they were setting it up. I'm talking just complete rubbish.
Oh, I love it. I've genuinely missed this.
It's been some time, Ben. We're about to see our first qualifying session of the year, because we missed the first one. Oh, we did see it, but I was busy fiddling with knobs in order to get this stream up and running. But what else is different, huh?
Oh gosh. Oh, yes. So first qualifying Gen 3, everyone.
So
fiddling with knobs to get your stream up. Oh my gosh.
Oh, I just realised the double entendre. Very good. So, yeah, go on.
I've got nothing. I'm done.
You started a sentence.
No. I was going to say to the people watching this, I hope you're enjoying.
Well, it's a lot of the same crowd that we've had in years past, I'm sure. If you're new to watching this, then, well, thank you. Glad to have you. Glad to have you along, and looking forward to another 10 minutes of qualifying, and after that 10 laps around this Albert Park circuit. Sounds like not a lot, but it is one of the longest tracks that we go to around the calendar for the Automobilista Supercars Championship.
Outside of Bathurst, are there any longer tracks than Albert Park? I don't think there is.
I couldn't tell you one, because we have a lot of sort of 1 minute lap times, and that's in supercars. So Simmons Plains, Barbagallo, Winton's a bit longer in terms of lap time, but it's still quite a short track. So no, I don't think
Gold Coast as well.
Yeah, and that was made shorter as well in. I was going to say in recent times. It's probably been about 6 or 7 years since they neutered the Gold Coast.
Oh, I think longer than that, Sayers. I think it might have even been 2008, 2009.
Was it that long ago? I think they did it to put in the tram tracks for the what do they call them? The shit Olympics. Commonwealth Games, that's it.
Gosh, that's brutal. I love that.
Well, Victoria didn't want them. They handballed them. That's
all.
No
one wants them.
No one wants them. So, can you argue with me?
No, I really can't. Yes, and it was also because it was, I guess, nicely timed, because IndyCar had also, screwed off their contract. So it was like, okay, we've only got supercars and we're closing down half the friggin' city for them. Nah, it's shorten the track, put a train track. So yes, but I seem to remember the race where they had all of the international stars, which I had no idea about at the time. And now I look back and go, holy shit, Jerome Blake and Wallen drove a V8 supercar. Mike Conway drove a V8 supercar. Ricky Taylor drove a V8. Ricky Taylor flipped a V8 supercar on the grid.
They drove them, but they didn't really know how to start them. So I thought that was quite cruel. That you start it and we'll finish it off, and they didn't really know how to how to get them off the line, and it resulted in some disastrous race starts.
Yes, indeed. But that race was 2010, so it has been at least since 2010, which puts it in the realm of 13 to 15 years ago. And doesn't that just make you feel old, Stairs? It makes me feel old.
Yeah, I hadn't realised that till you mentioned that, but bugger. Time marches on.
I'm sorry that I've done that to you.
Yes, we're watching Ethan Warren here. We've got quite a few cars on their outlaps now. We'll start to get some times coming through on the live timing. We haven't got a link for you for that live timing. That's something we should endeavour to resolve in future streams. We're a little bit we haven't really kind of locked in the rest of our streams for this year. Some of them we might have to call in some favours to get going, so we'll see how we go. Life commitments sometimes getting in the way, but certainly for the next by Bathurst at least, we'll certainly have some live timing for you, I believe.
His arms, legs, toes, and eyes crossed. At the minute, though, Joe Mugford is the lead car in terms of the car that has done the most sectors, but it's Corey McFarlane to Sector 2 that is the purple time, and it soon, I suspect, will be Ethan... No! Corey McFarlane still holds the fastest time to the second sector, so we'll keep eyes on that as he comes through turn 13 and into turn 14, the final few corners. And we'll soon get a representative lap time, I think, from McFarlane. That will be the one that everyone's trying to chase.
Yeah, so Corey coming around the final corner as we speak, so we are going to get that barometer very, very soon. Ethan Warren won't be far behind him, so they're sharing purple sectors, as you say. Ethan with the first sector and Corey with the second sector. So Corey goes to the top with a 147.2. Ethan's coming across the line now and goes in behind by about 0.3 of a second. So it's not a massive margin because remember this is a long circuit. So who else have we got? Joe Mugford was about 1.7 seconds behind, so still quite a few times to come in. And
yes.
So Sean Allen, 4th, Aiden Sykes, 5th, Harrison Latino, Brenna Dostal, and they're still coming in as we speak, these lap times.
So interesting to note that on the fast laps for the top two, the gap at the first sector was a grand total of 24 thousandths of a second. It was in the second and third sector, particularly the third sector, that McFarlane was faster than Ethan Warren. But both drivers are up on their PB on this lap so far already.
Yeah, I did see that come up on my other screen. A good first sector there for Ethan Warren. We're just watching David Nenadich touring around at reduced speed, so let's cut off from that because there's no need to watch that. And he's gone into the gravel as I've cut away from him. So Ethan Warren is, well, he's down on the second split by 0.043, not a lot in it.
I think this is going to be an improvement from McFarlane as well, as he's coming into the back few corners of the circuit. Purple to Sector 1 and Sector 2. And I think as well, Warren may have a track cut, so I'm not seeing his sector times.
I think he's just eased out of it. He doesn't look like he's going at full pace, if I'm honest. So Corey McFarlane coming around. There is a yellow flag. I can't see exactly what that's for. And kicking the back out, Corey McFarlane, to try to get the power down out of that final corner. It is a 146.998. He shaves off 0.2. And Ethan Warren's not going to improve on that because he's coming into the pit lane.
Would they be throwing another set of tyres at it? Do they have the time? I don't think they do, Stairs.
Yeah, no, there's 4 minutes left, so there's time for an outlap. And he's going to have to hurry, of course. But
yeah, they're going to have to get a boogie on.
He's only going to get one flying lap in. So
and
the track goes quiet. There's not many cars. Well, there's probably half the cars on track. Ethan's straight back into the pit lane now. Corey will be coming in. He won't have another opportunity unless... Sorry, I keep cutting you off as you're about to say things. But he'll come in... I don't think... Yeah, he's 2.8 off. Unless he's doing a cool-down lap and going again. But he won't have enough time if he has to throw on a new set of tyres.
Yeah, it looks like a bunch of people coming out of the pit lane to start a second run at things, trying to burn up as much tyre as they've got.
So who's
Who is
out
out
of position? Kurt Stenberg's third. I'm just looking to see where Colin Warwick is. He's down in 19th, so he hasn't snagged a lap yet, so that's a bit interesting. I'm just wondering why that might be. There's a few cars. I just saw Aiden Sykes in the wall, so I'm not sure what's the cause of that. So there's a bit of action going on, but a bit of a lull before the final storm, so to speak. Here is Colin Warwick. Let's see what he can do.
He's on an out lap at the moment, I believe, Stairs. So I think his first lap he ran wide and got a track cut, as did Alex Cattle. I saw him run wide at the Lakeside chicane. So he's on his next set of tyres. He's just behind David Nenadich, and McFarlane's coming into the pit, so he's done.
Yeah, so he set the goalposts pretty high. That's not how goalposts work, but anyway, he set the bar high. He's narrowed the goalpost. Anyway, the goalposts have been moved. They're half a second. That's not how goalposts work. They do get moved. Ethan Warren will try and drive his way through them, and if he does drive his way through them, he will win the game of qualifying, which will be rewarded by starting at the beginning of the grid. The beginning of the grid? The front of the grid.
What's the expression for Futurama? We hit that bullseye, the rest of the checkers will fall down like a house of cards. Checkmate.
Yes, exactly. And in the game of chess, you can never let your adversary see your pieces. Ethan Warren is about to start his rebuttal to the debate, to the question asked of him by Corey McFarlane. We've gone to debating from goalposts. We're using all the analogies today.
Oh my god! Who's on a lap? Someone save me. Who's on a lap? Who's near the end of a lap?
Well, yeah, that's true. Who we got? Well, Kurt Stenberg's about 2/3 of the way through a lap. So maybe we can see where he's up to see if he is looking like he's going to improve. Looks
he's
like
on an out lap.
He's on an out lap.
So,
there we go. So the thing doesn't tell me that. Different live timing doesn't tell me that. The old one didn't tell me that anyway.
That's true. Ethan Warren up on his personal best to the tune of 0.13 of a second. Still not the purple time though. So he's looking to try and find at least. He's gonna find what? How much is he gonna find? Half a second. God,
it's through the second. He's matching Corey through the first sector. It's the 2 seconds. Was the second and the third sector where Corey's just running away with it. Now, the question is that where he's got an advantage, or has Ethan just made mistakes on his previous 2 laps?
He's not made a mistake this lap. Purple second sector, 22.8. He's outside of the pole position time by 0.04 of a second. As he trail breaks and he's gone. He's onto the gravel.
Throw it away. Put it in the bin. You're done. Ethan Warren is not going to catch Corey McFarlane doing that sort of thing. Has he lifted out of it? Is he going to continue? He probably wants to see if he can at least improve and protect himself from anyone coming in late. No, he's coming into the pits. So Ethan Warren's done. And so too is Colin Warwick, who's not finishing his lap. He hasn't got a lap. So
wow.
I'm surprised. He must have got a track car. That's interesting. Alex Cattle hasn't set a lap either, but he's about to. And so he's going to come across the line. And let's see where that sticks him. 7th place. Not the same as in the first race, but still not too bad. So have we got anyone else on a lap? Kurt Stenberg might be on a lap. Yeah, so let's have a look at him. He's not setting the live timing screens on fire. They remain cold.
He's matched his PB down to the second sector by just on 23 thousandths of a second away, so he's not that far away. But he looked a bit out of whack coming through the Lakeside chicane, so let's see whether or not he can improve.
And I think we've got Mitchell Steele Allison, who's in 9th place behind him on a lap, and I think that's the last person actually on a lap. Corey McFarlane,
well, Jay Borg's just crossed the line, improved his time, but not his position. So he stays in 10th.
Ooh,
Mitchell Steele Allison.
Slide for Kurt out the final corner. He's going to come to the line. He's currently 3rd. He's got a lot of work to do to try and find 2nd place, and he stays 3rd. And Mitchell Steele Allison stays 9th. And I believe that's everyone.
We've got Brandon Dostal, 17th place. He is the last driver on track to set a lap, and he's coming through the penultimate corner now. 17th place for Dostal. He did a good job in the first race to sort of he was the cork in the bottle, so to speak. And let's see how far the cork can rise this time. Do corks rise?
Oh,
15th.
The cork has risen. The cork has popped. Yes, they do rise out of the top of the bottle of the champagne.
But of course, the big story from that qualifying session is Colin Warwick not setting a lap time, Stairs. What drama?
Yeah, very unusual there. That's not... Oh, I guess he must have set got a track cut on that lap, because I can't think of any other reason why he wouldn't at least finish the lap to try and register some sort of time. It's just these live timing things, the thing just goes away as soon as the session's finished, so I haven't got it in front of me anymore.
Neither do I.
But Corey McFarlane, nonetheless, pole position there from Ethan Warren and Kurt Stenberg in third place. So the same top three in a different order as we had finishing the previous race, first, second, and third.
And then we've got Joe Mugford, Trent Allen in 5th place, Sean Allen in 6th place. So Trent wins the Battle of the Allens. Alex Cattle, Brody Steen, Mitchell Steele Allison, and Jay Borg is the top 10. So the big surprise is, of course, Colin Warwick not setting a lap. And Cameron Parrott down to 14th. Maybe you expect a bit more from our Canadian friend.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the live chat. Out of the last 4 messages, I think 2 of them are quotes of something silly that I said. I was busy fiddling with knobs, and the cork done rizzed. That's not actually strictly speaking what I said, but it was a bit of a. It was based on something I said. Let's say that. Anyway, we're in warm-up mode now.
Yeah, quite a few people remonstrating in the Discord server about the difficulties in their lap time. Brandon Doss was saying that last sector's a pain. I lost all my time around that last corner, which is a bit of a shame, seeing as we had that on stream for all to see, Brandon, unfortunate for you. And Mitchell Allison saying he was 7/10 up and he ran wide at the penultimate corner. 7/10, and 7/10 in the mid-pack, that would have been possibly enough to get him into the top 3 rows.
It's an unassuming corner, that penultimate. Well, not the penultimate. I'm thinking of the corner before the penultimate corner. But
the peri-penultimate corner.
The peri-penultimate corner. It's quite a fast corner, but it doesn't really look like that. It's actually a lot smaller in real life than you would imagine. I went there when it wasn't a race weekend once and just drove the track in my car, and was surprised actually at how narrow the road was compared to how it looks on television.
I find that very peculiar. Do they... Because it is basically just the 3 lanes that they've got there at that point in time, isn't it? It's not... there's no additional runoff. It's not an intersection where they can just pour runoff into it, is it?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's... I mean, because it's not a normal road. It still, I think, was designed as a racetrack in the... whenever it was, 50s maybe. So it's kind of a bit more of like a scenic road.
Yeah.
But, it's still... I think it's only... I'm trying to remember. At that part of the track, we're on board with... Or we're looking at Lachlan Horan now. He's about to get to that part there. As he's coming up to it, this corner I'm talking about here. Yeah, I think it looks like it's only about 3 lanes, really?
Yeah, wow.
In fact, no, it's 2 lanes and a bike lane each side. So it's just a regular kind of 2-way road at that point. It's wider at other parts of the track, but at that peri-penultimate corner, it's only the width of a normal 2-lane road. And so the corner is, I think, it's probably not full 90 degrees, but maybe sort of 80 degrees, something like that. It's very fast in a Formula 1 car and even a supercar, but it's still, imagine a 90-degree corner, 90-ish degree corner in your road car. You slow down to second gear often for that.
Well, yeah, it's a very different kind of 90-degree corner to, say, a 90-degree corner at Newcastle, because you've got a much more open radius. So, like, the actual size of the length of the circle that corner not promotes, but you know what I'm saying, that it projects. That I knew it was a pro word. The length of the circle that it projects is much larger than the apex of one of those Newcastle corners.
Definitely.
Does that make sense?
Sort of, yeah. I think our viewers understand where we're getting at, what we're getting at.
very weird to talk about corners in terms of radius, because it is very much about like the way that you're designing corners, talking about corners is like, yes, you're talking about them as an arc of a circle. So it's you kind of have to imagine the rest of the circle, and you're kind of overlaying that. So that's why geometry is hard.
Well, at the end of the day, that's how all these roads come about. You know, that some surveyor would have calculated, you know, what the radius of that corner was, and so how big the circle would have been for if it was, you know, not just one section of a small, you know, of the full circle, and you know how much of the you know, how much of that before you then go to a straight line, and how much of that before you go to a decreasing rate. You know, you get decreasing and increasing radius corners like you've got in places like Malaysia. So obviously, Herman Tilke had fun with his slide rule. Or his, well, actually, slide rule would make a straight line. Is what are they called? They're not called Bezier curves. That's something different. They're I don't know. They're those like drafting corners. So I you know what I mean, right? He's probably just got like a compass that he's loosened the nut on so that he can adjust the length, the width of it. Not a compass. Yeah, no, it's a compass.
It's a compass.
Yeah. I suddenly thought I was talking about the thing that tells you where magnetic north is, but that is also called a compass. It's just a different device.
Remember when we used to talk about race cars?
Yeah.
It's one of those moments where it's just like, how did we get here?
How did we get here? Well, we were talking about, you know, the radii. That's the plural of radius of corners. Rossi96 says, is Luke still recovering from his tennis injury? I don't have any intel on that one, unfortunately. So maybe someone in Discord can enlighten us about that one.
Tennis injury? What do you do? How do you injure yourself playing tennis? Tennis. That's what I said.
Thought you said something else.
Jordan DeSantis saying, I'm magnetized to this commentary. Thank you very much. We, as much as we're having fun with it, we do try very hard sometimes.
Yes. The compass points to magnetic north.
I regret everything I say. Good golly gosh.
So we are in warm-up, and that's our chance to kind of loosen up a little bit before the actual race. So, you know, we don't necessarily say anything of any great consequence during that time. Share screen, I forgot to do that. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Here's a peek behind the curtains for you listeners and watchers indeed, is I generally share the screen with my co-commentators so they can see what I am showing the stream, because the stream is, of course, is on a little bit of a delay. Oh, where is it normal? There you go, share your screen. It's been a while since I've done this, folks, so you know it's getting up to speed with all of the bits and pieces.
First day of school for all of us.
It is the first day of school.
Just something to note, maybe, that I'm sure you've actually had on stream, which has been good to see, is that at the end of that warm-up, Lachlan Horan took a chance to do a practice start. So hopefully we have a bit of a smoother run off the line for Lachlan Horan. Oh no, yes, we've got a problem.
What's the problem?
The problem is the lap counter still displays 28 laps. And
yes. I mean, that would take a long time on this racetrack. I'm sure someone will notice it shortly. And look, the cars have disappeared off
vacated the grid.
Yeah, so we're going to have a short interlude while the laps are reset. That will require a bit of resetting of the qualifying order, because that has to be done manually. So there will be a brief delay while that is rectified.
Yes, indeed.
Which is great, because it means we can talk about compass. What's the plural of compass? Compasses.
It's definitely not compi.
Oh no! What have I done? Oh, actually, they're back on the grid already. Thank goodness.
Oh, good.
Oh no, they're back. What hath happened?
They are back. It has been set to 10 laps, and we are almost good to go for our second race of the evening, Steve.
Yes, please, let's move on.
I can't believe you said that.
don't know what I was talking about. Jordan DeSantis says, isn't it funny how all of the South Pole is north, but the centre? Which is, I suppose that's true. If you're standing at the South Pole, anywhere you go is by definition north. Makes sense?
That hurts.
Makes navigation difficult, doesn't it, when you're
Yeah.
at the South Pole? Can't say it's a common issue for me in navigating.
Have you ever tried navigating by compass before, Stairs?
Yeah, when I was hiking as a young lad in my teens, we did a bit of... Dad said we need to go due west. And so, like, I was going due west like you wouldn't believe. Like, you know, just walking almost into trees, making sure that we didn't veer off our heading. But someone who hasn't veered off his heading this night is Corey McFarlane, who has started his second race in pole position, or will start his second race in pole position after qualifying well in this race and the previous race, finishing second in the previous race. He starts ahead of Ethan Warren, his main combatant from the first race, and then Kurt Stenberg, the two TTR cars, Linus Stern in second and third. In fact, the three TTR cars, Linus Stern, with Joe Mugford fourth in qualifying as well. So it's a bit of a TTR assault early on. Trent Allen will start out of fifth place for the Allen Tech car. And then behind him, Sean Allen qualified sixth for PSR, ahead of his PSR teammate, Alex Cattle. Difficult with the camera angle there to actually see the cars, as Brody Steen, one of the other cars who used to be teammates with Alex Cattle and Sean Allen. He's running the privateer Mustang there in the number 13. Mitchell Steele Allison behind him starts out of 19th place in the Donut King Mobile, the Camaro. Jay Borg starts out of 10th place in the Penrite car, number 094. Kai Jones behind him in the SES number 6. Steve Warwick for the Warwick Racing team out of 12th place, out qualifying his son, who didn't get a lap in today in the Albert Park qualifying session. Aidan Sykes will start in 13th place, out driving the number 15 car, and then behind him Cameron Parrott in the ever-present Fanatec. Doesn't have the same ring to it. Bombardier Boston Pizza car. Brandon Dostal starts in 15th place in the Pertec car. RSM Latino in the Blackshaws Warwick Racing team number 72. Tony out of 17th place ahead of Keenan Sykes, the second of the Sykes brothers in this particular race. And then we've got Lachlan Horan in the VES number 83, who starts ahead of David Nenadich for ZB Racing. And then we've got Colin Warwick in 21st, who did not set a lap time in that qualifying session, Michael.
Quite funny coincidence that is, that we've had both admins start from the rear of the grid tonight in each of their respective races. It's quite a nice and interesting little coincidence. And as the cars file their way onto the grid, 21 cars for this 10-lap race. Stairs, what do you expect?
Well, I expect Corey McFarlane versus Ethan Warren round 2, but you know, those Mugford and Stenberg in behind, with Stenberg not having to find his way up back from the grid, I expect those two to potentially get involved as well. I expect Colin Warwick to make places up the field. I'm expecting a 5th place finish from him, and that's it for my predictions, because we're about to go racing. The revs are rising, and theory is about to come reality as we get started. And it's been a great start from Corey McFarlane, not quite as unopposed as his start in Newcastle, but Stenberg, look at Stenberg around the outside of Ethan Warren and into second place to start this race.
And it's the two TTR cars side by side coming down the straight into turn 3. It's going to be Stenberg. He's right up the tail of McFarlane as they poke and prod their way through the car park. And it's Warren holds his position there. They're both poking and prodding the rear of Stenberg as they go through towards turn 5. There's side-to-side contact now as they head through towards under the trees, through the trees. We're trying to look into the end of the first sector, Stairs.
Someone do a Monza, cut those trees down, have a storm or something. So, yeah, that's a bit tricky, that camera angle, isn't it, to see exactly what's going on. But Corey McFarlane, I think, isn't going to have it all his own way. Ethan Warren is
Yes,
in
we've
behind.
got a car in the wall. We've got Aiden Sykes in 18th place in the wall at the exit of turn 6, and the yellow flags are out. Is it going to be a safety car? It looks like he's just about to get away.
Yeah, so meanwhile, we still got this battle going on at the front. So Ethan Warren has got past Corey McFarlane there, and so let's see whether he has the pace to run away or whether Corey McFarlane will continue to be able to hold on to that. We'll just get a replay here of what happened here to Aiden Sykes, and there was a car off. Was that Alex Cattle?
Looks like Alex
he
Cattle,
was
yes.
kind of spooked by that car and just lost the rear just as that was happening. And I think there might have been a second incident after that as well. Yeah, so he spun on the next corner, and that's how he dropped down the field. So back at the front, it's Corey McFarlane trying to hold on to that second place position from Kurt Stenberg, and that is allowing Ethan Warren to get a little bit of a lead out in front.
Oh, well, Kurt Stenberg, he's looking to the inside now, and there's contact between Kurt Stenberg and McFarlane. Stenberg into the wall.
Stenberg in the wall, and here he is. That is not the way that he wanted this race to go. So let's see if we can catch a replay there. Whoops, the wrong button. There we go. So, yeah.
Stenberg's done. Stenberg's done. He's not moving off, says. He's gone.
Yeah, so there was contact with the front right and the rear left. That was a heavy impact with the inside wall there, straight on. And so that is the reason why Kurt Stenberg, unfortunately, becomes the first DNFer from this race. Very sad.
Or maybe it's in fact Colin Warwick, because Colin Warwick's just come through the pits and he's disappeared.
Well, he's still on the timing screen, so technically what I said is still correct because Stenberg has DNF'd, but that's completely ruined my prediction. I'm very upset about that. So
in the meantime, this battle at the front rages on, and Colin Warwick has DNF'd as well. So a double DNF for the series admins. As this look at McFarlane, he's got the inside line as they come down towards turn 13. Is he going to send it? No, he slots back into line. So Warren from McFarlane, from Mugford from Allen, from Steen from Allen. So Sean ahead of Steen, ahead of Trent at the moment. Then Kai Jones, Mitchell Allison, Steve Warwick, Alex Cattle recovering after his wide moment. And Cameron Parrott, RSM Latino, Keaton Sykes, David Edich, Tony Brandon Dostal, Aiden Sykes. The list goes on.
So Warren's lost his rear gunner in Stenberg there because Stenberg was doing Warren quite a favour there by putting Corey McFarlane under pressure. It was forcing him to drive in his mirrors a little bit, and it was costing him time. Since Kurt Stenberg has crashed out of the race, Corey McFarlane's turned up the wick a little bit, and now he's putting Warren under pressure again.
Yeah, and under plenty of pressure, Warren ran wide through turn 1, didn't quite get the line through turn 2, and as they come underneath the trees to turn 3, McFarlane was all over the rear bumper of that Mustang, but elected not to send a move down the inside. And in the background, I'm not sure if you saw that, Stairs, it looked like Mugford and Sean Allen were trying to run each other wide as they go side by side through turn 5. This is going to end in tears.
Oh.
And Allen somehow manages to squeeze out in front.
He certainly does. So that's a battle for the willing, and they certainly are willing. And it looks like there's a few yellow Babiles in tow who are ready to take advantage. Those being driven by Brody, Steen, and Trent Allen. So those guys will be ready to pick up the pieces if anything goes awry in that little battle. Meanwhile, back at the front, it is still Ethan Warren leading by a hair's breadth from Colin McFarlane? Corey McFarlane. But Corey McFarlane, in catching up to Ethan Warren, set an absolutely blistering time, a 1:48.4, which was 0.3 faster than Ethan Warren's fastest.
I'm just going to send you back to that I'm just going to send you back to that battle a little bit further behind. There were 3 wide heading into turn 13, and it looks like actually Joe Mugford has dropped to the tail of that battle. I'm not sure if there was a reason for that, but at one point in time there was white, red, white across the road, white, blue, white, yellow rather across the road.
We're just going to roll that back to see whether he made a mistake. There was actually a bit of contact there with Sean Allen, Mugford into the back, and that's at that turn 11, well, it used to be turn 11, 12. I think it's 9 and 10 now. That's kind of advantaged Allen a little bit, and Mugford then basically got mugged by the 2 yellow cars as they went through. And so that's not gone at all well for Joe Mugford.
And he's come into the pits now, along with Alex Cattle and Keenan Sykes. So they're getting their compulsory pit stop out of the way. So that must be done by lap 8. So still quite a ways to go before you have to have your pit stop done. This is going to be quite a short race.
Yeah, it is a fast racetrack. Ethan Warren back back about 4 tenths ahead of Corey McFarlane, so he's just pulled out a bit of a gap. He's at the fastest first sector on the current lap that he's on, 1:38.339, but only a shade faster than Corey McFarlane, who did a 1:38.345 for the first sector, both in the grass as they exit that part of the racetrack, and they have a quite large advantage over Sean Allen, who holds down 3rd place from his old stablemate Brody Steen.
So yes, 6.5 seconds is the gap between this battle and Sean Allen. So you were at quite a large gap. It'll be interesting to see what the pit strategy is here, whether or not they come in at the same time, or if they try to offset, one tries to undercut, or if the overcut is on. And it looks like for the moment it is still holding station, but Ethan Warren using a lot of that right rear tyre and trying to power down the straight, mostly sideways from the exit of the final corner.
We're just watching Trent Allen, who was fighting with Brody Steen. He's come into the pits, and so too is Kai Jones and Cameron Parrott, I believe that is. I'm starting to learn these cars.
That's Mitchell Allison and Cameron Parrott. Kai Jones has a black moustache on the Camaro, not quite the black bonnet.
I patted myself on the back a little too early for that one. But back at the front, the battle has resumed, and Corey McFarlane's actually got past Ethan Warren, so I've missed that. Bloody hell. Let's see if we can catch a replay. So it looks like a bit wide on the first corner for Ethan Warren. So he had a really sloppy turn 1 and 2, and Corey McFarlane had a really good one and was able to take advantage. Very, very different to the sort of racing we saw in Newcastle, where they weren't really able to take advantage of one another's mistakes. Here, one little mistake like that, and it was quite easy for Corey McFarlane to swoop through back into the lead of the race.
Oh, a little mistake there for McFarlane, though, going through the lakeside chicane, and it looks like Ethan Warren is sizing up for a move down into 13. No, thinks better of it.
You can't take your eyes off this. The battle sort of swings one way to the other very, very quickly indeed. So they are going to... It'd be interesting to see who pulls the trigger on that pit stop first. We're going to be at the halfway distance in a few corners' time. So do they elect to make this race exactly in half? They do. They do.
And they do it together.
It happens. They are doing it together. They're coming into the pits together. So this will be interesting to see, how they've set up their pit strategy, their tyres, all that sort of stuff. Sean Allen coming in behind, so the top 3 all pitting as one. And who was that going through into the lead? Brody Steen. Yeah. And
then Kai Jones will continue through to take 2nd place.
Here's Brody Steen as he goes onto the grass.
Taking the scenic route through turn 1.
The scenic route.
Yeah, very... That completely short-circuited my brain.
Sorry.
No. It's a very different racetrack to Newcastle, and you made a good point that you're actually able to take advantage of those little mistakes. But these two guys, just coming out of the pits, Ethan Warren and Corey McFarlane, are so close on their ideal lap time that it's almost any mistake that they make can and will be punished.
Well, yeah, and the mistake that Corey McFarlane has made is having a longer pit stop, because he's been jumped by Ethan Warren here, and that's all it took. Because they were so close, they were basically nuts to butts as they came into the pit lane, and their ideal lap time was so close, as you mentioned. That's all.
Oh, check out a little further back, 5th, 6th, and 7th, 3 wide into turn 3. It looks like Sean Allen came out right into the battle with Trent Allen and Joe Mugford. Now they're running side by side through the car park.
Wow, so you can't really separate these guys, as they were battling earlier on. After the pit stops, once again they're battling. Brody Steen looking like he's trying to get a little bit of a gap. Sorry, not Brody Steen, Trent Allen. Brody Steen's nowhere near these guys because he hasn't pitted yet. So that'll be interesting to see where he slots in in front or behind these guys. Mugford going for the inside on Allen here. Oh, yeah.
It's not a lot of room on the outside there, and as the tyres, well, they probably got fresh tyres, so they might actually have enough grip to go through their flat, but it's not easy. It's not just as simple as putting your foot down. It looks like Mugford and Allen have managed to sneak their way through without any major issues, but Allen is fully on the defensive, and Mugford died.
Yeah, sold him a bit of a dummy, switched to the inside, and Allen has just escorted himself off of the racetrack into the gravel there, and Mugford is quite happy to drive on through.
Oh! And with a bit of flair as well, just to rub it in. But that has left Trent Allen off the hook.
Yeah,
and as well, Stairs, Corey McFarlane's back ahead of Ethan Warren.
Bloody hell, I was looking at that a minute ago. What happened there? Let's have a look. So that's happened as we roll the tape back. Yeah, it looks like Ethan's just outbraked himself there. He's taken too much speed in. And hasn't been able to get it stopped. He's just he's locked it. He's locked the inside front. That's what's happened there. So, as you mentioned, still trying to get to grips with these cars. You know,
wouldn't you know it? Wouldn't you know it? Ethan's back in front again.
Oh, and that happened while we were watching that replay. So we'll go back again. We'll watch another replay.
And I'll stay live, so that way we know what happens this time.
Yeah, you just tell me if I should stick on the replay or whether we can cut back to live action. But yeah, it looks like Ethan was just staying in behind, was able to make the move. It wasn't necessarily a mistake from Corey. It was just a good repass from Ethan Warren. So Ethan's got the pace. It's just that he's got a few mistakes creeping into his driving as they going side by side. We're back with live action now, ladies and gentlemen. And beautiful action, 9 and 10, side by side. Corey has the inside. This is the corner that tripped Ethan up on the previous lap. Let's see how it goes this time. He'll give him the room. Corey's got the tighter line. It's harder to carry the speed on that inside line. And in the end, Ethan Warren is the winner out of that particular exchange.
You see how much... Oh, Corey dives to the inside of the penultimate corner. As he got the ascendancy of the track there. They try to go through the final corner side by side. Is the over-under on for McFarlane. It's just got a little bit too much curb as they come onto the main straight. And it looks like as they come across to take the lead now, as Kai Jones has gone through the pits, there's nothing separating the two cars. Corey had to roll out of it so that way he didn't break underneath the rear wing of Ethan Warren, and they get through. What I was about to say was, did you see how much angle and attitude McFarlane's car had in the braking of turn 13? It looked like he had the rears all locked up as he goes to the inside this time and tries to command the apex. Not quite. They're side by side again. We've seen more of them side by side than we've seen them front to back this race says.
Yes, they're certainly liking the side by side action. Corey's starting to get a little bit of a habit of diving down the inside of a corner that will give him the outside for the following corner. So it looks like he's getting a move done, but then he doesn't have the advantage on the next corner. I know it's tricky because Ethan is positioning his car well there, so that Corey doesn't really have the best option. But it's allowing Ethan to stay in front for now. It's very, very close, though.
It is very close. Just a quick update on a few battles down the field. Joe Mogford has lost out to Brody Steen as well. That was a battle that was for a while side by side down the back straight. And there's quite a willing battle between Alex Cattle, Kai Jones, and Cameron Parrott for 9th. But once again, these two at the front are side by side into turn 13, and it's Ethan on the defensive. There's a little touch there that time from McFarlane, just a tiny little rub of the left front on the right rear. And we've got a yellow flag in this sector, and that's David Nenadich off in the gravel and with a missing wheel.
Yes, he is missing a wheel. So that's something that I'll try. Yeah, he's stranded in the gravel there. We'll stick with this action while I try and find a replay to play you when we've got a quiet moment, which might be a tricky thing to do. As we start the penultimate lap of this race, McFarlane goes for the inside here, down at turn 1, and then thinks better of that, tucks in behind. Right, we might have a chance before they get to turn 3, so let's play the replay. David Nenadich, that penultimate corner, took a lot of speed in there, unabated. It looks like either a brake failure or a deliberate off in frustration. So that's what caused that yellow flag. Back to live action.
And luckily enough, we haven't had any moves or any changes of position. They just have maintained the line of stern for the time being. And so thank you to the two up front for actually giving us a chance to catch a breath just for a moment.
And as that's happening, I'm looking at both screens to make sure we don't miss anything. Sean Allen and Trent Allen are picking up a battle here for the final spot on that podium. So third place is up for grabs here. Trent Allen wants it, and Sean Allen also wants it. And so there's going to be a bit of a disagreement over that, which will be settled by a bit of a duel of position of the car, and whoever's in front will win that battle.
Ah, yes, car racing. I like that we've got now a battle of the Allens, and this is now going to become the story of their season. Oh, at the front though, McFarlane almost squeezed onto the grass as he dives to the inside. Is he going to send it? Warren dances on the rear brakes, and they somehow go side by side again. But this time McFarlane has the inside line for the next corner, and he's not going to give that up.
Yeah, and he manages to make that work, but Warren's able to stay on the outside, which becomes the inside for the next corner. So I didn't know that he was going to be able to do that because he was almost out in the grass, and the traction is limited there, but he's able to carry enough speed to make that work through the final corner. Corey McFarlane driving in Ethan Warren's wheel tracks. You know, he'd be able to smell the farts if Warren was letting them go, but nonetheless, McFarlane is certainly putting Ethan under pressure. Yeah, he's got him there. Ethan outbraked himself into turn one. That's how he got past a couple of laps ago, and he's kind of forced the error once again. Oh, that's a weird camera angle. As we look underneath the racetrack, it looks like Ethan's going down the inside again. There's a bit of contact between them, bit of rallycross. McFarlane on the inside, side by side once again. Tell me when it's not happening that they're side by side. That seems to be rarer, as you said.
And it looks like McFarlane's going to try and send it on the inside of 6. That's very difficult with this new configuration. Oh, he pulls back out and back into line. A big block pass from Ethan Warren into turn 3. And I don't know, I wouldn't be too pleased with that if I was Corey. He had everything locked up.
Yeah, there's only a few opportunities left. This used to be an overtaking opportunity where the chicane used to be. They're getting up to that very fast chicane now. And there'll only be a couple braking zones. He's managed to muscle his way through there. That's not usually an overtaking point. He hasn't actually made it stick through the switchback. There they go. They'll have a couple of opportunities left as we are on the final lap of the race. I remind you, this is very rapidly drawing to a close. Who is going to win?
Warren straight to the defensive out of the beach again. He's locked the rears. He's locked the rears. Is that going to send him wide? He's lost the inside line, and McFarlane's out in front now, and he's just going to hold the inside line here. And he takes that position. Does Warren have an answer? Is he going to send it at the final corner?
He's going to drive around the outside to try and get the inside for the next corner, but McFarlane wisely drives and cuts that route off. It's going to be a drag race to the line, but I think McFarlane's got it. He's managed to hang on. He's capitalized on the mistake, and he's driven well defensively after that to hold on to it, and McFarlane becomes our second race winner in 2 races, and that rounds out a terrific night of racing. Now, something happened to Trent Allen. He's dropped down to 6th place. We didn't see exactly what happened there, but that allows Sean Allen to take the final spot on the podium in the second race from Brody Steen. Great showing from him. Joe Mugford 5th. Trent Allen, as we mentioned there, 6th. Jay Borg in 7th from Mitchell Steele Allison in 8th, I should say. Kai Jones and Cameron Parrott rounding out your top 10 there. Michael Zalavari.
Whoa. What a night of action. My gosh. For two races, we were treated to an absolute barnstormer between Corey McFarlane and Ethan Warren. Not only did they turn it on for the entire second half of the first race after the second safety car, but this entire race, all 10 laps, they were nose to tail, side by side. It was a coliseum battle between them. They were gladiators in an arena, and we just got to sit there and watch. What an absolutely amazing race that we got to witness between the pair of them. Further on, Sean Allen, great recovery after the first race to finish on a podium, which he probably should have maybe felt like he deserved after his first after qualifying on the front row. So I'm just absolutely blown away by the quality of racing we've seen tonight already. If Gen 3 is going to be like this every night, I am about it.
Yeah, it feels like we've kind of picked up where we left off from last year. You know, everyone's on the pace. They're close. The racing is excellent. The battles are great, and we've got an excellent turnout as well with 21 cars. And that's even with a couple of people missing. I don't think we saw Zach Baker tonight. Am I wrong in saying that? So
No.
yeah, looking very good for a strong season in ASC for 2023.
Oh, I almost need to go lie down after that stairs.
Well,
Need a stiff drink.
Yes, but you don't drink. Well, just have a stiff piece of a stiff coffee. Actually, no, it's too late for coffee. What am I saying?
Unless you got decaf or a stiff cup of tea and a box of Lindt chocolate. That sounds like a good time.
It does actually. Yeah. Is a stiff cup of tea just frozen tea?
You know what? I'd rather not find out.
Doesn't. Yeah. Anyway, the cars are making their way into the pits. And we'll see if maybe we get some of our drivers dropping in for a chat after that. We'll certainly endeavour to try and talk to our podium sitters who we've got 4 different podium sitters for tonight, with Ethan Warren and Corey McFarlane sharing the spoils between first and second in the first and second races, and then our third place getters in both races, Kurt Stenberg and Sean Allen respectively.
Oh, decent night of action. Decent night of action.
That's right. So before we chat to our drivers, we'll mention that the next couple of races that are coming up, we've got Sandown. Now we're not sure on. I think that the dates. The date for that occurs when I'm not around. So we'll see.
Yeah, I've got that in front of me, so I can actually detail the dates if you'd like.
Yep.
So Sandown 250 in a fortnight's time, September 18th. And then the next round after that will be a week later, and that will be Perth and Tasmania. So 2 slightly more similar circuits on the September the 25th. And then we've got basically a month break until Bathurst. Now that's provisional at this point, but hopefully we get a bit more clarity on that, whether or not they stay the same. But Stairs, I believe that you're going to be away for a little while, so we might not have our fun broadcasts.
Yeah, we'll see whether we can cobble something together for while I'm away. But I'm not promising anything because I don't want to. Because I'd be promising someone else's work, basically. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we'll see. But certainly we'll be back for Bathurst at the very least, which is on. Runs over the October 20th and the 21st, so the qualifying and the main event itself. So currently penciled in for a 1,000 traditionally, but I know that they were making sure that would all run smoothly. If there were any technical issues, they might drop that down to a 500. But that's all kind of in the asterisks, basically saying if it's subject to change, the calendar, of course. Kurt's actually here with us, so maybe he can enlighten us on anything like that. But that's based on the calendar that is publicly available to all ASC drivers.
Shall we talk to Kurt, or shall we talk to Corey McFarlane, who's just jumped in?
I'll leave that up to you, Floody.
As much I'll save Kurt for a bit later on. We'll let him calm down a little bit after that second race. I want to talk to Corey. Corey McFarlane, what a start to the Gen 3 era. First of all, race 1. Second of all, race 2. You guys look like you were having so much fun out there. Just take us through what it was like from the driving seat.
Pretty much organised chaos to plan it. But it's just get a gap at the start and then pretty much just race with Ethan and have fun.
And you guys look like you spent more time side by side than you did front to back. Like, how these cars look like they race very well together. What was it like, trying to outmaneuver each other? You made a mistake, he'd pass you. He made a mistake, you'd pass him back. You were trying to outfox each other every single turn.
It was actually relatively easy to pass, especially at Albert Park with the draft being so big and pretty wide track. But racing with Ethan's, it's very difficult in a way, but very easy because I have a lot of trust in him and we always race cleanly and fairly with each other. So it's you've got confidence to be able to send us a few silly passes and know that you'll come out of it all right. But overall the cars were really good fun to race, and the tyre wear, especially in the first race, made it real interesting.
So you sent a few naughty passes, you called it. He sent a few back to you. That one at turn 13 where he copped you in the side and took you off the track, basically. How'd you feel about that one?
What race was that?
The second one. You don't even remember. There was that many, was it?
No, I honestly couldn't tell you. But yeah, pretty much get what you give, and me and Nathan definitely give and get from each other a hell of a lot. So yeah, it was really good racing. So happy to be back on AMS as well. It's always good racing no matter what car you're in.
And yeah, first round of the new season, a win and a second place. It's a pretty good start.
Yeah, not really worried about results as such. Just here for fun. The cars are so much fun to drive, and yeah, good competitors as well to race with. So always a good race somewhere.
Well, congratulations on your pair of podiums, including a race win tonight, and someone who had a similar result. Ethan Warren's joined us. Ethan Warren, a win in race 1, second place in race 2. God, that looked like a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks guys. It's good to be back after a little break, but yeah, it's always good fun racing Corey. So yeah, I can't complain.
We were just saying to Corey, it looked like you guys spent more time side to side than you did front to back in both of those races. Anything that stands out for you in that sequence?
Not really. There was so much that was going on, so I can't really pinpoint a single moment. But yeah, it definitely made for a good battle with how slippery the tyres got by end of each stint. So yeah, it made battling that a little bit more interesting.
And you took race 1 very, very well in a very tight battle there, and then lost race 2 at the very dying stages with just a little bit of a lock up into the turn 13. So the tyre wear is really something that you have to manage and work through to try and stay ahead the whole race?
Yeah, for sure. It wasn't as bad in the second race in Australia, but in Melbourne. In the first race, it was really bad. You had to conserve a lot. But yeah, in the second race, you could just push, and yeah, it didn't really matter, which is good.
Nice. Final few things. The new cars, they look like a lot of fun to drive. They look like they race really well together. Any comments on the new cars?
Yeah, the new cars are great. I think they've done a good job, but I don't know. From my perspective, I don't see that much of a difference, but there could be maybe a little difference in the tyre wear, which is yeah, definitely makes it exciting, and I think does replicate the real life cars for sure.
Final thing, a win in the second place on the first night of action. It's a pretty compressed season. Have you got championship aspirations, or you're not focused on that just yet?
No, definitely not focused on that just yet, that's for sure.
Well, you've made a good start in any case, and congratulations on your results tonight.
Thanks guys, and thanks for the broadcast.
Oh, always. Thanks, Stairs. He's put all of this together. Final few things. Let's talk to Sean Allen. Sean, congratulations on your podium in the second race. What happened in race 1? We saw you fall a lap down very quickly.
I made a mistake trying to get past Kurt and binned it at the pit, and then I had to sit behind the two crazy blokes up front.
Well, you had the best seat in the house for that one.
Yeah, I had the pace on them too, but I didn't want to ruin their race, so I just had to wobble around behind them. Like a Sunday drive.
A bit unfortunate there, but you made up for it in race 2. You had a great battle with Trent Allen, which we're coining the Battle of the Allens. Do you reckon you'll have the mocker on him through the rest of the season?
Yeah, I reckon so. I reckon I'm the better Allen. It's even spelt correctly in my way. He's even spelled incorrectly. But no, look, seriously, I probably shouldn't have been there. I kind of got held up in the pits because I, for whatever reason, was sharing with Corey. So we pitted at the same time. I lost a few seconds there, but it was a nice race. I think he tried a little bit too hard to keep up at the end there and binned it, but it is what it is.
And just quickly, I talked a bit to you before the start of tonight's action about the cars and how they felt. Any reflections on what we talked about this before we started on after a few races? How do they feel to drive? How do they feel to race?
Man, they feel unreal to race, honestly. The work that these guys have done getting this sorted, Cole and a couple of the other blokes, like, it's a rip of mod. The tyre wear is crazy, which you'd sort of expect, but the car doesn't really lose a whole lot of balance. You just got to be a little bit more careful on the throttle application. But it pretty well, after driving it for a week, it raced exactly like I thought it would. People falling off the track and having fun that way, which I expected, given it's a difficult car to race now. Yeah, it was great.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on your podium, and hope to see a bit more of you up the front this season.
Yeah, thanks, man.
And finally, we'll come to Kurt. Kurt Stenberg, one of the series admins, started from the rear of the grid from race 1, which Stairs commented on must be one of the longest periods between penalties given and penalties served.
Yeah, I mean, we'd actually forgotten about it until Colin brought it up about half an hour before I jumped on tonight, and was like, "Oh, just don't forget that you got a grid penalty for tonight." And I went, "Oh, yeah, I'd forgotten completely about it." So, yeah, I knew I'd get a penalty for Newcastle at the end of last year. I just didn't expect Newcastle to come in September, but it's good to finally be out there.
And you had a pretty good race 1, finished in third despite the penalty, and not quite the same in race 2. You had a bit of a moment in contact there with Corey McFarlane and sent you into the wall at the exit of the first corner. Just a quick detail on what happened there.
Well, I was trying to race these two boys that were racing for the lead, and Corey had his bus parking out, and he was slowing me up in the apex of the corner, so I gave him a bit of hit, and I gassed it up off the corner, as it's easy to do in these cars, and went straight around into the wall, and your motor went. So, yeah, I've had an engine failure in Gen 3. These cars are a bit more fragile, I found out, so not ideal, but race 1 was mega fun. I was disappointed because I was looking forward more to Melbourne than Newcastle, but race 1 was mega fun. The tyre wear was awesome. Everyone who pitted lap 1, I don't think, was going to make it to the end, so that second safety car kind of got everyone out of jail free, just with how bad the tyre wear was. But it was a spicy race. It was good, and I just kind of capitalised from the safety car and made my way up and ended up on the podium, which was very unexpected. I have not felt comfortable driving these cars. So, yeah, I was surprised to be as competitive as I was, and I hope we can continue that on in the next few rounds.
Yeah, and just a quick note on the next few rounds. We've noted the format for tonight. 2 different racetracks are compressed into one night, as a feature race and then a sprint race. You've done this, of course, as a way to sort of cram the full season into a shorter time frame. Firstly, how do you feel about that after you've done one race, one evening action? And secondly, what do you think that sort of brings to the sort of competition? Has it made it more fun, more exciting?
I think it's made it more fun, more exciting. It's given people less opportunities to practice. Tonight, especially, there were 2 completely different racetracks to learn. It's going to be a bit different when we get to some of the other tracks where they're a bit more similar. But yeah, I think it added a great spectacle. We got 2 rounds out of the way. It saved us running 12 Mondays. It condensed us down to 8, and we still get to race on all the tracks of the calendar. And I think it worked really well. I'm not sure what everyone else thinks, but I really enjoyed it. I think it's a great idea, and I think that idea has enthused a lot of people because they're like, well, if I'm not good at this track, I might be able to be good at this other track on the same night, and they're still keen to rock up and race. So yeah, I think it's good in all aspects. It's definitely something that we've run just because to cram the season in, but I'm surprised at how well it's been received and yeah, how well it went.
Well, it's certainly from the broadcast chair, it looked like a lot of fun tonight, and I hope that we see that for the rest of the season. So congratulations on your podium in race 1, Kurt.
No worries, thank you.
And that pretty well wraps up the night of action, Stairs, and boy, what a night.
Yes, yeah, it certainly was. Thank you for handling the interviews there, Michael. It was very entertaining to listen to our podium getters and get their opinions and thoughts on how the night played out. Very much looking forward to the next stream and or whenever that may be, but I certainly think we've got quite a lot of excellent racing in store for us in the future. So to keep abreast of that, you can subscribe to the Automobilista Supercars Championship YouTube channel for updates on that, and of course when we're doing broadcasts we'll put it up on the Apex Rear Wing Facebook page as well, so you can get links both ways. I think that's all from us today, Michael, so we will leave it there. Thank you for everyone who's put this event together and all the work that's gone into getting this mod up and running so that we can race. So we will see you next time, and thanks for watching. Bye for now.